Hello scrapping friends, it's Jayma here, and today I'm going to create a double page layout using this sketch, but I am going to change it up just a little bit. We'll talk about that in a moment. So I do have a 5x7 as the sketch calls for, and then I have 4 3x4 photos. The sketch calls for 3, so I'm going to be adding one more, and I'm not using a flip flap this time. Do you guys get excited when you see some photos that you have that are going to match the paper collection you have perfectly? That is how I felt with this collection here. This is a collaboration for 2 teams, actually. It's the creative design team collaboration where I'm a little late. Everybody last week posted Halloween layouts. And it's also my team collaboration. My Stampin Up team and I collaborate monthly. And this month it is to use this sketch. And some of my friends have made cards using a scrapbook sketch, which is really fun. And some are creating layouts. So I will have a list of all of the participants down below. So be sure to go check them out to see their take on the sketch. This is a sketch that I provide in my customer and my team group. This is for October, and I have one each month. So I have this sweet Halloween kit, and sometimes it's hard for me to work with purple. Actually, a lot of times it's hard for me to work with purple. For some reason, I just don't usually have purple in my photos. But if you look at these, we have some kind of purple and pink glow in the background of our friend's house. And I put it up to some of the papers and it looked super cute. These were from last year. I was hoping to be able to scrapbook last year's photos with this. I'm very behind on scrapbooking Halloween. I was hoping I didn't have to go back further, and it worked out perfectly. So I have the scrapbook kit and the DSP. So this is a scrapbooking kit. It comes with instructions to make 3 double page layouts. I am not following the layouts. I'm simply using the kit to create my own layouts. So if you have this kit, you can follow along with those layouts, or you can glean some ideas from me. So it does come with die cuts to use. So these are 2 sheets of die cuts. This is the sticker sheet. I think some of these words are going to be pretty fun. And then I've got the scrapbooking kit on one side, and then the other side has the DSP pack. And the DSP pack is a specialty pack, and it also comes with a bunch of die cut pieces. I used this on a Halloween layout I did fairly recently, so I'm not sure I'm going to use it on this one, but there's a bigger one over here that I think might be fun too. So we'll see. But the scrapbooking kit comes with not quite as much paper, but the paper is either one-sided if it's meant to be a base, or it's 2-sided and it has less busy papers. Now, this is my favorite paper. I absolutely love this paper, and I definitely want to use this. But what I want to do is take into consideration the papers in the scrapbooking kit versus the papers in the DSP pack. This one has this pretty Petunia pop on the back that's more subtle, and I probably can see myself using for more things. So I'm not sure I want to use this one in particular, because this pattern is also in the DSP pack. And let's see which one it's on. So here is that pattern in the DSP pack. And actually, I think I might use this one even more than the Petunia pop. So in that case, I will use this one for my paper. And I need to pick out a few other patterns, but just wanted to show you the patterns I have to work with. So I don't have green in my photos. I don't think I want to go green. I could possibly use this. The back of that is orange, so I'll have to pay attention to what that is in the other pack. So there's that one. And then we have the black and orange here with the orange on the back, so I could use either one of those. And then there's also cardstock that comes in the scrapbooking kit. So you get a bunch of cardstock that coordinates with the paper pack. So whites, I'm going to grab a couple of whites to use as my bases, although I think I'm going to use some colors as my base, but I'll pull those out just in case, because usually I do end up using white as a base. And then let's see what we have in the DSP pack over here. So we've got this gray again, and you know what? This one has these tags on the back, and I'm not sure I'm going to use these tags because they don't really go with what my typical scrapbooking style is. Maybe these ones, I could cut those out and use as tags. So if I'm going to use that gray, I probably would use this one, because then the one from the scrapbooking kit has this on the back that I find a little more useful for my purposes. So let's put this back. And then let's see what else we have here. This orange one, which I have pulled out from the scrapbooking kit, that has this on the back. And I don't see myself really using this, except for maybe when my kids were younger, but I have scrapbooked most of those photos. So I will probably put that one back and use this. Although, you know what? I did like the black. So let's see, we have this one, could be fun. I don't think this one's going to go with my photos, but that's another fun one. And then we have this scene, and I really like this piece right here, and I think it'd be fun to cut this and maybe use it across the layout. There's actually a strip on here that goes all the way across. And so if I cut this so it's just the fence, that actually might be kind of fun. I could even probably stretch it because it's just going behind here. So I have a little piece here, a little piece here, and actually not a lot of it's going to show here either because I have a second photo that's going to go there. And then we have just a little bit showing here. So I could just use one sheet of this and not even have to cut into the other sheet. The back of this is another one of those Petunia pops. So I could get this out of it and then strategically cut it so I can use the top and bottom of this one if I want Petunia pop as well. So let's see, I think that is all of the patterns. I also have lots of die cuts to work with. I'm going to wait to see what my paper choices end up being, because that will kind of determine which embellishments I want to use, what colors I want where, and all of that. So we'll do that in a bit. All right, so I'm going to pull out my mats here and put my white sheets down as I configure my photos. So according to the sketch, this is going to go over here. And then I've got 3 photos here. My dog, as you can see, was just thrilled with his costume. He actually was being pretty good in this one here, but yeah, he was not very happy about having his costume. That is Coda, and he is just the sweetest little doggy. And then I have this one. This is all of the kids. This is our friends' kids, and then my kids. My daughter was Sally, and my son was looks like a grumpy policeman here, but he was in a phase of not wanting to ever smile for photos, although he looked a little happier here. And then this is just the older girls. They went out on their own around our neighborhood for the first time this last year. So I think that's gonna go like this. So I'm staying very close to the sketch, but I'm just adding a little bit here. And then this is a large mat that actually it has a diagonal. There's a diagonal cut like this, and then this is one pattern and this is one pattern. I'm not sure I'm gonna do that or not, but I just thought it was kind of a fun idea. But I'm thinking that this pattern here, I want to be the same as this pattern. And I think that that candy paper would make for a good one for that. So have a strip going down like that. And I like that. I might actually, these photos are pretty dark because it was dark in the house. That one stands up off of this a little better because it's not quite as dark. I did want these two on opposite ends because there's bright orange in both of them, kind of separates that bright color. But this one stands off of this one a little bit better, I think. And then let's make sure I like it over here as well as the mat around there. I did double mat this. I did just a 1/16 of an inch of white and then an 1/8 of an inch of black. So the black is a little bit bigger. And so then that gives some separation between this busier pattern and my photo. And I think that could be good. And I'll use some background paper to brighten things up. So we've got all of these different patterns, and see how the Petunia pop, it's not the exact same color, but we've got some pink, we've got some purple and blue, pink up here, and I think it just blends nicely. So let's see what we want as the background. So I need a background piece that's going to be shown up here and down here. And then I need this center piece that's going all the way across. And then I need this band right here. So if I end up using that fence, I don't think I want this as my, my big band right here or as my background. So let's maybe pull that out. We have that going across kind of like that. I don't know, that could be kind of fun. All right, so we have all these options. Now this is going to be gray on gray, so I'm going to go ahead and rule that out because that is not going to pop at all. We have the bright orange, and that works well, of course, with my photos of my dog over here. So maybe that could be my background paper that's going to be up here so that these photos are not right on it. If it were the bar going across like this, then these photos would be right on the orange. I think it would pop a little better on top and bottom. But we have these ones that could run across the middle like that. I think I kind of like that. And then the black photos would pop nicely off of that. Let's see, I really like this pattern, and I think this pattern could be pretty fun as well. The black doesn't pop off the black as well though. You know what? I don't like that as well. We could put it up here. So that could be our background. And then this could be the one going across. I don't know, these ones are too similar. This one's just kind of a diagonal little stripe, and this one is either vertical or you could turn it and have it be horizontal, but they look pretty similar. I think I like the orange because it's a little bit different. It's got some polka dots in there. So let's see if we do make that the center. So do I want to use this Petunia pop or do I want to use this? Because I think this could look really good as that center bar as well. And then in that case, I think it's too much bright on bright if we've got this as the background and this as the bar. So we could go with the black and orange, and then maybe have the orange as just the skinny strip to tie this in again. You know what? I think I am going to just go ahead and cut this down and just see what it looks like, and then we can go from there. So I went ahead and cut these because I know I want to go with those. And then I cut this strip to see what it would look like. And this just doesn't have enough punch to me. I like all of these papers, but I think I like this punch of the Petunia pop behind here better. I like that a lot better. I like this fence, but I am going to save that for another project. Maybe it could even go down along the bottom. I don't know, that might be too much. But I think that having just a little bit of the orange, so don't look at this up here, look at this down here. I think maybe that could be good. And then black, yeah, I like that. I'm gonna go ahead and commit to this being the strip all the way across and then just a skinny strip of orange. All right, so I've got one side in place. I do like that. The sketch calls for a border around the outside. So before I glue things down, I just wanted to see if I want to add that border or not. Now, let me move this out of the way so you can see. The black, I'm not sure the black really stands out that much. I'm wondering what this would look like. All right, I grabbed the orange and the Petunia pop so I can see what those would look like. That around the edge. That's okay, it's not really doing much for me. But the orange, because I only have a little strip of it, I wonder if I'm gonna like that. Maybe I want a white border. I've got everything right now on white paper. So maybe if I just bring that down and have a white border. I could do that, or I could do a double border and do white and black. And then that mimics my mats around my photos too. If I have that little border of white, then the black outline is going to show up a little bit more. I think I like that. I like how it mimics this and it kind of just brightens everything up a little bit because my photos are very dark and I've got some dark papers. I think I'm gonna go with that. All right, so let's adhere these pieces. I'm trimming a 1/2 inch off one side and a 1/4 inch off the other because only 3 sides are going to have a border. My paper trimmer blade needs to be switched, so it kind of ruffled up the edges there. That's how you know when it needs to be switched. But I am going to go ahead and put my strips on, leaving a white border. I'm doing the top and the bottom first because those ones are going to be overlapped slightly by the centerpiece, and I want to make sure that whole height of the centerpiece is showing because that's according to the sketch measurement. I cut out the center of that black background piece since it was going to be hidden, so I saved some paper that way. And then I was thinking maybe I wanted the candy piece underneath the Petunia pop, but I ended up wanting to follow the sketch and having it on top. And then I needed to add it to my black background so that I could make sure that this is lined up to the background. Now I definitely could have gutted most of that black background out, but I was kind of in a hurry because I needed to get that candy piece down, and I have so much black I figured, you know what, it's okay. But if I hadn't already matted my photos in black, I definitely would have gutted it, and then I could have used what I gutted to mat my photos. Now I'm just trimming off the edges that were hanging over, and now these will line up perfectly. But I forgot to add my orange strips before adhering everything down, before adhering the candy piece down anyway. And so I'm just adding that afterwards. I wanted to show you that we all make mistakes and there's always a way to fix it. So there we go. Okay, my photos they're lightly tacked down just in case I need to move them, like this one, depending on where my embellishments land. And then I popped out some of the embellishments. Some of these are stickers, so like the ghosts, and some other ones are stickers. So I pulled them off the sticker sheet, and then this anti-static powder bag, which is made for embossing. But if you pounce your stickers on that, it leaves a little bit of that powder on the back, so it takes off the stick. So then you can move them around like die cuts. And then I used this Fright Night stamp and die set to stamp an embellishment. We've got this one here, and actually my son stamped this and he wanted to show you how he did it. So I'm going to insert that clip here for you to watch him stamping it using the Misty. He loves stamping with me whenever he has a chance, and he helped me pick out a bunch of the embellishments for this layout, and he wanted to make the whole layout with me, but I told him that I need to record, so he can help me choose things and then I need to record. So he did the stamp, and then he helped me die cut these little spider webs. So I've got a bunch of spider webs, and then I've got the word eek here. So we'll see what I end up using. And then these dies over here actually will cut out these stamps right here. So let's just start playing around. I'm pretty sure that I want to use, actually I'm almost positive I want to use Trick or Treat because it does fit perfectly right here, and that's what they were about to go do. I didn't get a whole lot of photos last year. I need to remember to get more photos when they're actually out trick-or-treating this year. But sometimes these little pop-outs leave little nubs here from where they were stuck together in the die cut sheet. So I like to just trim those off. It takes a little bit of extra time, but I think it's worth the effort. All right, so that is going to go right here. Now in the sketch, it has a long title going across there. And if I don't have anything over here, I feel like that's going to be a little bit blank. So I was thinking I could take this and kind of stick it down here. I saw my friend Erin do that with one of her layouts and thought it was cute. So we'll do that. And actually, you know what? I feel like we need something else here. I'm gonna die cut one of the dies that goes with this. So I thought orange would look good with it. So I actually cut 3 of these, and I thought that might be good for like a landing spot for our embellishment clusters, because I only have this little bit of orange that's showing, and so that brings in a little bit more orange, and then of course we'll bring it in our embellishments as well. So I know that I want to add some spider webs, because I just think that these are so cool. So I'm going to try adding them in all 3 points of my embellishment clusters. I added 3 to 4 of those little spider webs in each cluster, and I love them. I think they're my favorite part of the whole layout because they just had a delicate touch, and it's like texture and dimension too, because I kind of left the outsides. I only glued down the inside portion, so the outsides were still a little bit lifted, and it was my son's favorite part of the layout too, so we had a lot of fun. I think that he had the most fun cutting those out and then scraping out all of the little pieces that we had to throw in the trash after die cutting it. So when I do embellishment clusters, I like to have each color that I'm using represented in each cluster. So I've got the 2 ghosts and then the white pumpkins, and so I've got the white in each cluster. In fact, I have 2 white pieces up in that top right one because of the stamped piece. And then this pumpkin one is from the scrapbooking kit. And for some reason in the scrapbooking kits, the margins around the die cuts and stickers are pretty big. So I like to cut that down just so there's not so much white around there. The ghosts, it doesn't really matter because they're kind of, you know, you can't tell so much. But with the pumpkin, I cut it down. With the DSP packs, it's not as big of a margin. I don't know why they're different, but like that potion bottles from the DSP pack, so that doesn't have as big a margin, so I didn't worry about that. And then this pumpkin here, also, I think it was a sticker from the scrapbooking kit, so I'm cutting around there. I'm not quite sure where this one is going to go yet, so I'm going to hang on to that, but I just want to have it ready. I like to use that little tray that you see there to hold all of my die cuts in. That way I can pop a whole bunch out and kind of audition them, and whatever I don't use, they're just kind of kept together, and I can put them back in the envelope with my paper pack when I'm done. Those are from scrapbook.com, but any like little dish or something that you can use, I find it really helpful for gathering my embellishments. And then I can also pre-stamp and die cut pieces from my stamp and die sets like I did, and just keep them all together. I really like that. So I've got these bats, and I'm thinking that I might kind of sprinkle them around as little embellishments. So just putting them around in various spots, and I'm not totally sure about that. I'm going to have to think about it. In fact, I stepped away for a while after putting the bats down to think about it. I do really like this spider though, and I'm thinking I'm going to have him hanging down from a web that I'll just draw in with a journaling pen. There was this journaling box on the sticker sheet, so I took the stick off of that, and I think that fills that spot nicely down at the bottom. That was called for journaling, but I wasn't sure if I was going to do strip journaling or what, but this one actually fits perfectly, and I like the little extra pop of Petunia pop as well. And then I could bring in that little extra pumpkin embellishment, and I like how it draws that orange down to the bottom. So like I said, I stepped away and I realized I do not like the bats. Because I have patterned paper and colored backgrounds, I thought that the white border around the bats just made everything look too busy. So now that they're gone, I like that a lot better, and I'll figure out another way to add a little bit more embellishment. I'm feeling like I need a little more orange, kind of like in the center-ish of the layout. So I'm adding these little candy corn pieces now. There's tons of these little candy corns in the sticker sheet and in the die cut pack and DSP pack, and they're super cute. So I was able to fit quite a few of them. I even added one over the O in Trick or Treat, and I thought that was kind of clever and cute until I added the banner, and I was like, oh yes, that's definitely better. I liked the banner over there. It added just the extra little bit of something something I needed in the middle there. That little title was just looking a little stark, so I'm really liking that. And then I also added the eek over on the right. I felt like this little area to the left of that large embellishment cluster was a little bit blank, and there was this moon on the sticker sheet, and so I thought that was kind of cute. But now that's the only spot I have yellow, so the only other yellow on the sticker sheet is this little word strip. So I'm drawing it down diagonally, so I'm not really putting yellow in every cluster, except there's a little yellow in all the candy corns, but I think that diagonal draw is good enough. And then of course I added the Petunia pop in the top left like I mentioned I would do, and then I used a ruler to draw a straight line with my journaling pen for the spiders. I decided that I wanted a little bit of glam and sparkle, so I'm using my Wink of Stella, and then I had a clear block there that I squeezed a little bit out of because I wanted to just be able to pick it up like a paintbrush so I didn't get too much out at a time. And then I'm adding a little bit of glitter to each of the ghosts and then down on my little pumpkin down at the bottom. It's always so hard to pick up this shine on camera. I will try to show you in the close-ups at the end, but it's just really hard to show it. I tried to catch it in the light, but I'm not sure you can really see it very well. All right, let's bring it in for a close-up. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like, and if you haven't subscribed yet, consider doing so. I post scrapbooking inspiration every week, and you can find still shots over on Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest. Those links are down below. And also down below is a list of my team who is using this sketch if you want to see more ideas with the sketch. And the creative design team has posted lots of Halloween ideas. That's all in the playlist on the right, so go ahead and check that out. And if you want to see another one of my videos, that is recommended on the left. Have a great day.